So I was saying to my golden monkey, I was like, you come over here, monkey. Oh, hello.
That's so Nicole Kidman. That's so Nicole Kidman.
Welcome to Alpha Book Club. This is the world's best interactive book club on the internet. Hello, my name is Ms. Coulter. Right? I got Pantaloon, and I got Lord Asriel skin the snow leopard, and I'm wearing it. No, kidding, guys. Welcome, I'm Maude Garrett, and joining me today are my wonderful co-hosts for the Golden Compass. This is our last week. We've got Hector Navarro and Rachel Heine. Hey, guys.
Made her real upset.
We just talked about skinning a cat.
You made her real upset.
No, I'm just wearing leopard print pants. That's all it is.
I know, but
and I've got a little. So I've got animals happening.
Yeah, good.
This is not an accident, guys. And then, of course, you know, we watched the movie, and we'll talk about that. So I've been channeling my.
Did you rewatch it?
Yeah.
Did you rewatch it?
Nicole Kidman.
It's great.
And a big shout out, obviously, to the chat, because this is why we do the show. It's to have a chat with you and to talk books. So hello, Alpha community. Say hi to everyone there. Hello, The Real Gabe. Hello, Lost the Numbers. Hi, Brucifer. Hey, Java Book Geek Girl.
Hi.
Now, before we get into today's show, we're going to be using this feature. We've talked about it before. This is really cool because it's where we ask you questions and then you click a button and get some answers. It's called Alpha Polling. So you get a right to vote. We've been doing it, the last month? It's been a lot of fun, maybe even longer. We did some Harry Potter stuff as well. So just wanted to make sure that you are aware if you are just joining us. A question is going to pop up and you just click the answer, but it's only going to be available for the desktop users. But we're going to continue to update it over the coming months because we're just adding that interactivity, guys, getting you involved. So let's do our first poll. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. How did you like the book overall? Is the question that we're asking.
Ooh, man.
How did you like the book
What are our
overall?
options?
It is a
overall rating?
5-star rating. Rachel, let's hand it over to you with that. Are you still upset that I?
No. I'm thinking. I give it a 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I would
and a
probably
sentence
give-
to explain your answer.
Yes. So I rereading this for the third time. I love it just as much. I love the world. I definitely want to talk about the way that it's. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about adaptations the whole time because there's a lot going on. But I love how it introduces this world. I love how it doesn't kind of speak down to its audience. It lets you kind of figure a lot of it out yourself. And I love. You know me, I love a devastating ending, so I love that, and it kind of makes you want to read more.
I like the ending.
No,
like the
it's
ending a
good.
lot, yeah.
It's good, but it's fucked up.
It was a kick in the dick.
Yeah.
And it's just so shocking, and I hope that other people continue to read the series because it just gets, much like Harry Potter, just gets darker from here on out and weirder, and it's really fun, So 4.5 for me.
I have to give the book, I'm going to give it 2 stars. I know, and I'm so bummed. I was telling Rachel before we started, I'm so bummed because I wish, kind of happened to me throughout the reading, I wish I could just connect to it more. And I don't know if it was a combination of the world and the lore or the actual way that it was written and that Philip Pullman...
You had an issue with the language.
With the language,
the whole time,
there were times where I felt like I'm just not smart enough for this. I'm just not, I'm not... Well, because I'll be honest, there are words that they just come up and I'm like, I don't know if that's a legit English word or if it's something he's making up for the fantasy
Don't you like
realm.
to look up?
No.
Did you do this as a kid?
That's what I did. I
As a
still
kid,
got my
I
book.
love it.
No, I did it as an adult.
As an adult,
Yeah, I mean, I do
anytime
it
I got
now,
to that
too.
word, the first thing I thought was, little kid Rachel, look this word up. And I wish I had the time. I'm like, I'm not going to look that up. I'm just going to keep going.
Phone.
But then I'm also scared.
Dictionary.com
I'm also scared of
now.
like,
You don't even have to have a dictionary.
I'm also scared if I look up like Bolvingar.
That's a place.
It's a place.
But if I look it up, if it's going to be like a real place in the real world I don't know, or
Does
if
it
it'll
have
go,
an index?
if there'll be a spoiler of like, it's from the Golden Compass where at the end this character dies. Like I'm afraid of looking up that
that's fair.
definition. You know what I mean? So I was trying to give myself the, let me read it
Okay.
through all the way the first time before it's like, what is it? Who's Mrs.
I mean, you could
Coulter?
just go to
Cutter?
dictionary.
Yeah,
you know.
that's a good point.
So,
That's fair.
So I'm giving it 2 just because I
They
personally...
should have an index, I feel like.
and I thought that's what it was going to have, but then it was kind of like supplemental material in the back of this version of the book, which is really cool, but it was like, I think an
Not
index
really
would have been...
helping. Yeah.
You would have been pretty helpful. So 2, couldn't connect.
What part of not being able to connect as well was it because it was centered around a young girl who was quite confident and assertive?
I very much was aware because I've been talking about this book for the past week in my life. I'm having conversations with people, and a lot of people that I'm meeting are like, I loved it as a kid.
That's the point of book. That's it right there.
I loved it as a kid.
Make that a commercial.
Because I'm bringing it with me. I'm reading a chapter when I have time, and people are like, oh, you're reading The Golden Compass? I never read it.
I get that so much when I read Harry Potter. They're like, oh my gosh, people like stop me. I was at a cafe, and they're like,
that's great.
Is that Harry Potter? I'm
Which
like,
book?
Yeah.
Which read-through are you on?
This woman gave me this whole spiel about how like she read The Chamber of Secrets like 4 more times and like was telling me how she appreciates it now, and I was just like, that's what I'm talking about.
I took this to Disneyland. I had a buddy who had a birthday. Went to Disneyland during the day.
Fun.
And as I was in line for like Haunted Mansion, I was like, I've got 20 minutes, and was like knocking out a chapter. And one of my friends, she immediately was like, oh, I love this. I connected to it. And I discovered, and it was not lost on me, that a lot of women connect to this book. And I totally got, as I'm reading this, I'm like, why is that happening, and why maybe is it something that I'm not connecting to with my life and in my experience? And I'm like, yeah, it's because it's this young girl, and she is thrust into this adventure, and she's so capable and so smart and so, I mean, we'll get to it. The scene where she lays out the plan with the bad guy bear.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fucking great. The bad guy bear, who is voiced in the movie by Ian McShane, but like, you know,
that's
great.
was.
It's Ian McShane. Hey, I looked up a lot of the cast as I was watching it, but
the cat. We have to get into the movie. There's so much.
It was not lost on me, Maude, that like maybe a part of the reason I did not connect to it is because 1, I didn't read it when I was young. 2, I am not a woman, and maybe there are different things that I would have in my life connected to and read into and stuff.
I've got another theory as well. It just dawned on me while you were talking. I think maybe women could connect more to it because of the notion of having a demon in itself. You are protecting and nurturing something that is your blood. And I think that there's a slight sort of like mothering vibe with that.
You know what else is really interesting too is that it's the opposite gender thing.
Yeah, I mean, I find that super
like,
interesting.
Female characters have a little male demon and vice versa, and I'm like, that is interesting. Most women that I have made connections with in my life and have had relationships with, they'll say like, I sometimes find it easier to make connections with, like I have more dude friends. I've heard a lot of that, and I think it's very interesting, and that all speaks to like what our society does
to women.
As we're all coming up to women, so like
to young women.
I think there's a lot of that too. It's like not only is it Lyra, this young girl, but then her best friend is Pan.
Yeah,
this like little kid boy thing, and I'm like that's
voiced
great.
by Freddie Highmore.
Yeah,
he was like 8.
Yeah,
and also I think too this note, and Maude, let me know what you think, because I know when we first talked about the book on the first week, you said you felt like you identified with her because she was scrappy and she's you. And and I was like, oh, that's not me, but she's so cool. Sure. And I wish I could be more like that. But I also feel like being a young girl, young woman, and you could say this about different types of folks, but I think people don't take you very seriously. And so having someone be very capable and kind of blowing the evil adults out of the water with her like cleverness and her loyalty and her, even just not the lying.
I mean, 100%. As a kid, the one thing you do all the time is you lie through your teeth.
Yeah.
And you never get away with it. Yeah. She is like changing worlds, literally, because of her lies.
Yeah.
And so I think that's
She's
part of it too. She is the.
Yeah.
I was having this conversation with someone about the whole Ray as a Mary Sue thing, which we don't even need to get into, but I was saying, we have all these chosen one narratives, but they're mostly young boys or young men.
Absolutely.
And so I think seeing that in this, where not only is the story challenging Lyra, it's challenging you to understand it. And I think it's rare to see that in something that's this popular, the same way that with the Mary Sue, they were like, well, how can she do that? And it's like, but every other, anyway, misogyny, but anyway.
So just
what rating would you give it?
Yeah,
actually what the score was, and
was?
everyone who weighed in, the average score was 4 out of 5, which is mine.
Nice.
I think 4 is great. It is really good storytelling. It's very far removed. Not only is it a different world, it's a different era. Even more so with the movie, you get a very steampunk-esque sort of vibe.
I wanted to talk about that because it's a very interesting type of fantasy where it's not high fantasy, it's not Lord of the Rings, but it's not Harry Potter.
Not contemporary fantasy.
Yeah, it's
it's
period.
Right.
Period
so
contemporary
there's this
fantasy.
Interesting
almost,
balance of like having to explain the rules of the world, but also being like, and you, the reader, know how the world works, so we're not going to explain that. So there's a really interesting balance. So and some of the visuals in the movie like kind of helped land on that, but I pretty much had that idea, that kind of steampunk, you know, Victorian
With the
era
Zeppelins
with
and-
the throughout. But it's still interesting that like it's right there in the middle, where it's not Harry Potter is our world, except there's a secret bunch of people, and then
But
Lord of the
even
Rings
in the
is
movie,
not.
they had like this incredible technology. Even the horse and cart, there was no horse, and I think that they made that decision because the animals play such a different role. So
Right.
they eliminated the need
There
for
were
animal
horses
help.
in the film. Are horses demons or no?
No,
At
there,
one
I mean
point,
there are just
they're
regular
horses?
animals. Yeah,
Okay.
that's like I think a confusing thing. But
Yeah.
you know, like they had that. Help me out, guys.
What is that?
The thing I'm talking.
Althiometer?
No, they had a giant sort of like device like that was pulling the cart. It was.
A gyroscope?
Yeah, it's, that sort of thing. We need to be in a charades team together.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Hector,
really
you
good at
are-
charades.
I guess I'm shit out of luck.
Only
Java
guessing,
Book
though.
Geek Girl, Java Book Geek Girl said, just a heads up, I'm very good at charades, like very good, but I am the best at Pictionary. So if you guys ever
Oh,
are
I'm
I
doing-
can.
terrible.
I can draw
out the board.
anything, and I can get anybody to guess anything. That's how good I am at Pictionary. So if you ever need a ringer, if you know you're going to like a
Got
game
it.
night,
Okay.
and you know
Have
you,
you-
can call me.
This
I'll
is
be
an
your
aside,
lifeline.
but have you played Codenames? The game?
Oh, I'm
Oh, yeah.
really
I'm
good
I
at
good-
love
I'm good at
code.
that.
Yeah.
I'm good
Who
at
wants to
that.
play Codenames?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
No,
annoyed
somebody
people.
bought me
Yeah.
Marvel Codenames, and nobody wants to play with me.
Oh, Marvel. Yeah, what? No, I already don't even want to entertain that idea.
Well, it's also fun if you know the other person. Like
Yeah.
if I'm playing with my friend Shelby, all musical references.
Musical references.
Yeah,
Great.
and she's the only one who will get it.
Got
yeah.
it, got it, got it.
In that group.
Yeah, you'll be singing in the rain. Got it. Okay.
Java
Yeah.
Book Geek Girl also
works.
contributed to the conversation by saying, I think I connected to Lyra really closely as a kid because I was also pretty tomboyish and was far more interested in going out and
Yep.
playing and exploring than dressing up and being a lady.
And Java Book Geek Girl told me, Hector, you should try book 2.
Yes.
Because it is set in our world, and it introduces like a male character, a young boy, immediately, and he's from
Yeah,
our
he's
world.
a little bit
Yes.
older than Lyra too.
Sure.
Yes.
And so,
I-
and I kind of knew that already, and that's, and again, from the very beginning of this, where it's like this book is set in another universe, book 2 is set in our universe. I was already like, that's a great hook.
I think you would like the second one, and I think it's
I think that happens completely.
it's grounded in a
Well,
very
there's a subtle knife.
it's a
Get out.
it's a very more personal story. So I think there's more to be attached to. It's a little more emotional.
Question for you. Question
So-
for you. They're doing the TV show. Would you hate it if they skipped the Golden Compass and said season 1 is the subtle knife?
No, I think they'll have to do it.
Really?
Yeah, they're
You
gonna
think
have
that's
to
the way they're
start
going to
it.
go?
'Cause this
That they won't
book is
redo
world
the Golden Compass?
building, really, and you're building up Lyra.
Would you be mad?
No, I wouldn't be mad, but I think that based on what happens in the second book, they might do them parallel.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
I can
include
see that.
the
I
second
can see
book
that. Godfather Part 2.
alongside as they're kind of coming together. So you see both of them, and then you get more of the real world and like
Yeah.
learning the differences.
Because I understand having a whole season to sit through what we've already just seen in a movie.
Right, and
Yeah.
it's not that they wouldn't expand on it, but they would be like having to deal with: are people going to like think it's too similar? Are people going to just compare like, oh, which actor did you cast? That's not Daniel Craig. That's not Ava Green. That's
No,
not, you know.
I don't
so.
think anyone who read the books, like, even if you didn't hate the movie
Sure.
like I did when I saw it, and again when I just watched it, I don't think anyone was like, yeah, that's my Golden Compass. Whereas in the first season, I mean, if we look at a season and we look at all of the great genre TV that we have right now, and you see something that's like, I mean, Ava Green, Penny Dreadful,
Yep.
but like more steampunky and
Yeah.
glittery and gold, like that could be very cool, and you could expand some of the characters in the world in Oxford a little bit more as
Yeah,
well.
that's true.
So I think there's stuff you could do that, but I would say the first 2 books will run parallel in the show, and then
Interesting.
That's
and
a
then
good
the
take.
third one because it gets bigger
Ties it
from there.
together.
It's just
Yeah.
like the
we-
Avengers of that.
Yeah.
We've got another poll happening right now. We're going to
Ooh.
ask you guys, will you read the next 2 books in his Dark Materials trilogy? We've got, yeah, I am hooked. We've got, yeah, I'm not interested. And then we've got, if for Alpha Book Club, I think. Glasses. You're wearing
Yeah,
them?
that's what it says.
I'm not?
Yep.
I'm guessing.
Yep. Oh yeah, A Cat Who Games says Rachel kind of like how they did Two Towers: Return of the King. Yes, like that.
Oh, they did that in the movies?
They incorporate elements
Right,
of both
right.
books into them to
Oh, I
kind
had
of
no idea.
yeah.
Okay.
To
We
kind
gotta
of
read Lord of the Rings.
We've got a
Really?
lot.
We
I
gotta
mean,
read Hobbit.
guys,
We gotta read Hobbit.
literally cancel your Wednesday nights for the next 5 years because we got books to read.
we
True.
have so many books to read. Yes.
I think we have
Forever.
I think we have like 67 months planned out. Is that right? Like,
Yeah.
because we have like that many titles. Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm still
I hope you don't
adding
have
to it.
plans for your life ever on a Wednesday because we're always gonna be here.
Thrash Odin says the movie straight up sucks. With an S-U-X. All right.
I
Thrash
remember
Odin.
when you write SUX. Because like 2 extra letters was really tough. Hey, what we're going to do now is just kind of reflect on what had previously happened in the book so that we can talk about the last quarter of the book, and then we're going to go into fan castings and the movie and what we thought and how they got it wrong. So Mrs. Coulter and Lyra, they reunite, and this is in the north in the clinic where they're doing the cutting.
So scary.
Yeah. Oh, you can smell the sterileness of that whole place. It's just frightening. Yes. Mrs. Coulter explains that cutting, which is taking a demon away from a person, is a good thing for children, and she genuinely believes it to be true. Then the Egyptians come and save the children, and we also see Yorick in action.
Badass.
So Yorick is now the king of the bears after a huge bear fight. Is that in this one or?
No, they were wearing armor. They weren't naked.
No, but did that happen in the last quarter? Has this already happened? The fight? What?
Poof.
Oh, what?
It was just a joke. No, it happened in the
was
second
it?
part.
Maude,
Maud's been up
I feel so
a
bad
very
for-
long
Anytime
time.
I try a pun on Maude, she makes me feel so bad about
I
it.
don't
I have to explain
get-
my puns.
Can you just tell me the joke again?
You said the bear fight, and I said, no, they were wearing armor. They weren't naked.
I still don't get it.
Bear can be used as a description for
Bear,
an animal, but can also be used to describe like
Very good.
lacking something. So if somebody is having like
B-E-A-R-B-A-R-E.
a bear fight, bare knuckle brawl,
Also, hi, Brendan.
you know, bare
Brendan's
naked,
in the chat.
Ladies.
bare naked ladies,
Yeah.
right? All right, I got to stop trying puns around
No,
Maude. It doesn't
it
work.
was
It doesn't work. It
good.
doesn't work.
It was good.
She's got me beat, and then she makes me feel bad about it.
Well, at least
I didn't
you're
really
trying.
make you feel
I've
bad about it.
given
I
up.
really did try to understand what was happening when the world was imploding around us. And then we've got Lyra, who leads the children with the help of Roger and Billy Costa. And
Oh no! I know we're not allowed to do music, but I'm hearing the Charlie Brown theme song in my head.
I don't even know how that one goes.
I'm not doing it. I just said it. I never do it.
I'm hearing copyrighted
I'm
material.
always the one telling them not to do it.
Oh, it sounds so funny. It's great. It's copyrighted.
And then the witches come. There's a huge witch fight too.
That's what happens when we don't have wine.
Lyra and Roger escape aboard Lee Scorsese's balloon with Yorick, and then let's discuss.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what happened last
Is
time.
that seriously what
last-
happened last time?
Yeah.
I
Did you breeze
finished
ahead?
No, I did stop, but then I smashed the rest of the book
Yeah.
late last week.
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
finish
I
it.
think I did. If not when I got home after book club, like maybe the next night I finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I finished it this morning and then watched the movie in the afternoon.
Oh, really? That sounds like a nice day.
Yeah, it was nice because right in the middle of that, I got to go meet Clark Gregg down at the El Capitan
I
Theater. So
know,
it was
the
real nice.
picture was so
He
cute.
seems like the nicest guy. I
Super
feel like
nice.
he's
He
like
is.
you
That's great.
in 20 years almost, 15 years.
Man, I
Yeah.
wish.
Yeah,
That's
right?
nice.
That's yes,
Yeah. That's
totally.
real nice.
He's
Yeah,
really
I'll take
nice.
that.
He came to I wasn't there, but he came to New York Comic Con, and we had like a fire marshal situation because he like brought a skateboard. It was like an Agents of Shield thing, and so many people came, and he was like hanging
came
out
up
with
on a
everyone.
skateboard?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was
He's
really
like,
cool. Yeah, it's
"What's
like,
up,
hey,
guys?"
it's Clark Gregg.
It's me, Agent Coulson. I'm on a skateboard. I like the skateboard. All right.
Yeah, he's
See?
cute. Yeah.
So similar. I've got one tonight.
You do. Oh, you have a good.
But don't.
Oh yeah, you
don't
can't
tell
say who
anybody.
it is. I was like
tell
about
anybody.
to say it.
You were about to
I
say
give
it.
it-
The one who's
can I-
like,
can I
who
give it
sends
a-
the email that's like, don't say it. I'm like,
Can I
oh,
give a
it's-
clue that's pretty hard?
Sure.
No, because they
I
will
don't
figure
know.
it out.
Yeah, they will. Don't.
See that?
Don't
See that?
listen to me.
Wow.
Don't listen
There
to
are
me.
people in the chat that know what the word Jarvis stand for. You cannot give them a clue. that they
What
won't
does
figure
it
out.
stand?
Just a very intelligent system. You're fucking with the very serious people here. This is the MCU we're talking about, Maude. You cannot just drop a clue as if, nope, they'll figure it out. Me?
Oh, you. Oh, there it is. Hello.
So Hector,
so sorry,
I
thank
want
you.
to know. Okay, one, Cliff gasps, which they don't put in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And they're so cool. And then okay, Bear Showdown, Battle of Wits. So cool.
Great.
Right?
Great. Really
Do you
great.
like that part?
I really like that part.
So I like the part where it's like, you cannot trick a bear. You cannot
Yep.
trick a bear. And then it's Serafina that goes, but if a bear doesn't want to be a bear, then it doesn't, then it doesn't
And
possess the
Lyra
qualities of a bear.
tricks the bear because this bear is like King Louis and wants to be like you, ooh. And then that's okay. I can do that.
Okay.
No, I probably can't. That's probably copyrighted. Disney's gonna flag it. But my two favorite characters in the book are Lee Scoresby and Yorick.
Yes.
Baird
And those two as a
Great.
duo are great as well.
Yeah, they need like a buddy cop series. Just going around, getting in fights.
Yeah.
Hopping in a balloon.
Just that old Southern girl.
just so great.
taking
He was
care
so
of-
great in it, wasn't he?
He's
taking care of
great.
bear
The
business.
cast in the we'll get to the movie.
Yeah,
but-
we will. But in this one, Lyra obviously gets this brilliant plan where she realized, she goes in going, can I do it? And then he's holding the Yofa. I had it open so I could get it. Yofa.
I think Yofa's right.
Yofa Ian McShane?
Yes. No. Yofa Ragnarsson.
Yes.
So Yofa Ragnarson's basically holding like a doll. And so she's like, got this pan, make yourself scarce. And she's like, I'm Yorick, Bernisson's demon, but I don't want to be his. I want to be yours because you're king, but you have to face him one-on-one. And, just basically tells this plan. And I loved that she goes, it's working. And I'm actually getting hungry on this power because this is the most frightening being that she's ever seen in the world, bigger than Yorick Bernison, the most impressive armor, like a whole room full of bears, and each of them can kill.
That have to
She's high on the power,
part
man.
the Red Sea of bears.
Yeah.
When she's like, well, I have to go. I'm gonna go meet him, okay? And he's like, yeah, whatever. And so she walks, and I just picture these huge bears that are just looking at this little
tiny
human
bear.
girl. It's great.
But I think the fact that she's realizing he's eating out of her hand, and she's just like, whoa. So Lyra Silvertongue.
Yes, and I also think too, what's interesting, and I know we've been talking about Harry Potter in general because we're reading it, but also in comparison with this, and it's interesting because she's almost like she's not, but a Tom Riddle-esque character, like this kind of character whose actual parents, instead of the people who raised her, are bad, but they're very clever. They're a little, they both crave power in different ways.
She's got the chosen one aspect.
And so she has all of that, but she was raised, it's this nature nurture thing. She was raised by the College of Jordan and running around in the streets with all sorts of different kinds of people. And so she has this fierce loyalty in addition to these skills, but you can kind of feel that power where it's like, which is a little can be scary, I think.
I like that. Yeah, she's like Luke, His dad was a bad dude.
Yeah.
But she's going to be a good dude.
It's a choice. Yeah, it's a choice at the end of the day that everyone gets to make. This huge fight does break out, and it's smoke and mirrors, really, at one stage. Yorick's kind of faking it too, because he realizes that Lyra's got him in this position. Again, Lyra's just like, oh, I hope he knows what's happening. Oh, I'm leading him to a trap.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm leading him to his basically near certain death.
When she shows up and she tells him, he's like,
done.
That's all I ever wanted. Let's go.
But again, the alethiometer is like, trust him. And it's just like, she's like, whoa. And I'm
Lyra
like,
Silvertongue.
Did we just become best friends?
Yep. That's what happened,
Oh, I love book club. It's so great. And then we get into Dust, more about Dust. And
it goes into a full manipulated Bible passage. I check out. I'm sorry, but when it's like,
oh, really?
And Adam and Eve, and then there was dust. I was like, nah.
Oh,
I find it's fascinating.
It's very fascinating. Yeah. It made me even more curious about the whole world, because if you're telling me that demons were present from the beginning of mankind, as I guess they should be, because that's what everybody is just so familiar with and so used to. I just kept asking questions. I'm like, oh my God, then what was the Middle Ages with demons? And what was just all of human history? I'm like, how close was it?
Did they have mammoths?
Did they have...
Oh my God, the ancient Egyptians, they just put the demon as their head.
Yeah, it just...
They were probably two separate people, but they made that like that.
I was thinking about
that's
everything.
Cool.
Now
really
I'm
interesting.
interested.
Yeah.
That's the thing is I know, and we've talked about this and religion on the show, and of course we have the lovely Java Book Geek Girl if you have any insight, because she knows a lot about religious studies. But I think it's interesting too because it's also historical. They're tied together, and understanding how the church manipulated this story to control people and to control their demons and to control dust.
A cat who games, who is also jumping on the whole Golden Compass and Harry Potter analogy, Lyra would absolutely be Slytherin, but she represents the positive aspects of Slytherin, like the ambition and cleverness, but doesn't use it for true evil.
If only she were in Harry Potter, we'd have one Slytherin who's not evil.
And Merlin?
Yeah. I guess. We don't know.
I just picture, the Sword and the Stone Disney animated Merlin, who's like a cool dude.
I picture the Sam Neill 90s
TV show?
miniseries, which is so good.
Great.
It's so good.
Okay.
Anyway, it is. There's a bunch of witches in it.
Then what happens, Maude?
Well, Lyra is carried by Yorick to where Lord Asriel is. There's this beautiful moment where he's basically like, I'm carrying you to your destiny, but I cannot go any further because they have to cross an ice bridge. He's too much of a big boy.
Sure.
Yep. And then you see Lord Asriel. I, at this stage, thought I kind of knew where the story was going. And then, Lord Asriel kidnaps Roger. So he explains why, when she first arrived, he was shocked when he saw Lyra. And then when he saw Roger, he calmed down a lot. Like, I didn't really get that. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, that was weird.
But that interaction with
reaction.
Lyra and Lord Asriel was like heavy on my heart. He is so detached. He's so not loving and caring.
Yep.
And like that, he does not have a daughter. He really doesn't. This whole project and you see it with Mrs. Coulter as well, it's larger than life, and it's larger than themselves and family and anything that they stand for. And so seeing the interaction where Lyra is just like in tears going, I traveled across the land to give you this thing and you don't even want it.
You don't even say hi.
That's it.
You don't even say, how are you? But she stood up to him. She's like, I'm not your daughter.
Yeah.
She's like, this bear probably loves me more than you love me. I'm out.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah. And it's like, and he goes, that bear's just, he's probably just doing it as a duty. And she's like, no, that bear probably loves me more than you do. And I like that moment where she, did you hear somebody laughing at Duty? Relax. What? You're a thick boy.
Oh
nice.
my God,
Cat Who
that's
Games.
amazing.
Yeah, he is. I really like that moment, and I remember I audibly cheered her on when she told him off. I was like, yeah, Lyra, go Lyra, good. Tell this guy, because I'm so used to, especially stories that are geared towards kids. If these stories want to be subversive, they'll still have a parental figure that's like a jerk, but then by the end of it, they'll come around. I'm so used to that. But this British guy is like, no, I told you from the beginning, this guy's a dick. Why are you expecting him to be cool? And I'm like, because I know that Daniel Craig plays him in the movie. Yeah. I just assumed you would have got Daniel Craig to be like the tough but loving father. He secretly loved her the whole time. He comes to save the day. I guess I'm wrong. And then they did the same thing with the mother character, Mrs. Coulter, when we found out that she was Lyra's mother. And I'm like, okay, why are you setting up these relationships unless I'm so used to the payoff being one of them is going to actually love her and be good?
Dude,
and it turns
superhero,
out, no,
superhero mentality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I'm as I was reading, I was kind of like, this is bleak. Kind of for kids.
Yeah.
Rachel's like, I love it. Yeah. Hector's like, I don't love anything anymore.
It's tough. It's it's going against my expectations. And in fact, that goes along with another thing that I thought when I finished the book, which was, it almost to me feels like every single aspect of the Golden Compass, and maybe the rest of his Dark Materials trilogy, from the names to the subject matter to the themes, it feels like it goes against everything that should be a very successful children's book series. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The names are hard to pronounce, even in English, in the language that they're written in.
Well,
they're not snappy, catchy. You get to Harry Potter and they're like Hagrid, Dumbledore. All these Snape. They're all these sellable names, and then you get to this and you're like, what? Fodder Corum? It's very awkward, and it's
I love it.
Yeah.
And even
the cobblers.
Yeah, it just seems like
Lyra Blacqua.
You're right. Yeah. Lyra Blacqua.
That sounds like in The Expanse when they go Taqua.
So it just seems like it goes against a lot of what I would think would be why this became hugely successful and very popular for kid readers, especially. But
I think
I'm wrong.
I don't think it's very young kids the way that Harry Potter is read to
15?
people. No, I mean, I think it would, it's definitely precocious, younger
12,
kids
13.
around there.
Did
10.
you read The Gift when you were 9?
The Gift?
The Giver.
Giver.
The Giver?
Oh, that's right. 'cause
Yeah, but The Giver is like
Yeah. The
easy
Giver is-
language.
Yeah, dude, it's simplified.
That's like
It's
that was
simplified.
rough to read. I was like, I could read this in an hour, but
All right, smarty pants.
no, it's not smart.
I'm
to
sorry,
read
I'm humble
fast.
brag.
Okay. All right, let's calm down. But no, I think too, one of the reasons I liked it, and someone in the chat pointed this out as well, is that Lyra's takeaway is like, if the adults think that it's bad, it must be good.
That was
And
good.
to learn, and I was talking to Erin earlier, and she was like, so I said, what did you think at the end of the book? She was like, well, so adults are all bad, right? They're all bad. And I was like, kinda, yeah.
Except for,
Lee Scoresby.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Lee Scoresby, the one you
and
asked.
it's sure it's not all of them, but she doesn't even know that all of these people, even when they're being good, are kind of manipulating her, trying to use her to specific ends, even though that's potentially to save the world. But I also like that, someone else said it too. Oh yeah, Halia Wolf 86 says, I feel like Mrs. Coulter really loved Lyra, but not as a daughter, more like a possession. And I feel like the hesitance that Lord Asriel has when he sees her is like, oh no, I don't want to do it to her.
But if I have to.
But if I have to, I will. It's very Machiavellian, and so then he's relieved and has her friend. And I also, the end really got me when I was younger, because you see them like embrace. And as a child of divorced parents, the Parent Trap was my shit. Like you always kind of secretly hope that.
But then how did Mrs. Doubtfire work for you? Because that was another one that I wasn't a child of divorce until I was like 20 or 22 is when my parents finally split. But still, when I was young, there were times where I was like, and there were even conversations where like my mom and or dad would come to be like, hey, we're probably gonna get a divorce. Like it was like on and off.
Which I think is worse.
Yeah, it is. But I'm glad it happened when it
Yeah.
happened, because if my parents got divorced when I was 5, I would be a different person. So whatever, the grass is always greener. But I would know that as a kid, Mrs. Doubtfire had an effect on me because they didn't end up together at the end.
Yeah.
And it was okay.
And it was okay. Unlike Liar Liar, where they magically, like Jim Carrey and his ex-wife magically get back. And I'm like, okay. And I know that also for my friends that were the children of divorce, like Mrs. Doubtfire was another one where they were like, that one helped because it was okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah,
So,
I loved Mrs. Doubtfire. We've talked about Hook, and that's not a divorced parent one, but I think 'cause he's like an
busy
absent.
dad.
Yeah, which is.
yeah. But also
I-
The Parent Trap is great.
The Parent Trap, so both versions are great, but I watched the 1960s one with Haley Mills a lot, and it's like one's in California and one's living far away, and they have this whole thing, but I was like, maybe there's another one of me that's with my mom. I was like 6, so like maybe, I don't know, we'll sing together. But this moment happening after something so tragic, after she's worked so hard to get away from one and to find the other, and to see them love each other, which should be something that is like, oh my god,
each other.
Bad.
They are
Well, also boundaries, not great for kids, and B, to see, but also B, like that should have been our family is together, but instead it's tragic.
Yeah.
And yes, I very much enjoyed that when I was reading this when I was younger, because it felt real to me, and it felt like I really felt like this book trusted me to get what was happening, to get the themes, and so that element of the book, and as it gets darker and gets more into some of the religious stuff and the other worlds and all of that, I like that it gets even darker and it tackles these things, because and if we get into the movie just like fluffs everything up and out of the
where did the movie
content
end? The movie ended where like Lyra was like, I think in the airship.
Yeah,
flying,
they don't do any of the.
And it was
ending.
her little kid friend, the bear, Lee Scoresby.
What a beautiful like.
And the witch, and it was
Yeah.
a happy ending. And again, because I kind of get
No.
it. I
Kill
kind
the
of get it, because I think was it Java Bookie Girl in the chat was like, well, the series is called His Dark Materials, which doesn't exactly inspire confidence that it's going to be happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
But I'm still kind of like flabbergasted as to how this series is as popular as it is because of all that. Like there is people really connected to it, and they find good in it, because if something's just the bleakest just for the sake of being bleak, I don't think it's going to be popular. There is good in this. So I get why the people that tried to make this into a movie had to end it there, because they're like, there's no fucking way we can end where the book ends without
torturing
us,
children.
without us knowing. Well, yeah, but even then, like it's a very much like a cliffhanger ending. Without them getting the green light to do a sequel.
Yeah.
Harry Potter 1, I think, was in theaters, and they were already doing part 2.
Got it.
At least, right?
But it also has it's sort of different. But I will also say that I just have to call out Mrs. Kylo Ren, Rachel. I was definitely into The Parent Trap, and I have a younger sister, yet I was still convinced I had a twin elsewhere. Love it. We're talking about, the people in the chat are talking about Paradise Lost, and that Lyra's name is a character.
Can someone help me out with that? Because there's a very intelligent conversation happening. In the chat.
I would
you guys
love-
are super, super smart talking about the Paradise Lost, not only with
Lucifer.
name. Can we scooch it back in the chat a little bit? Defensive Drew was bringing it up initially, saying... There. Isn't Asriel supposed to be like Satan in Paradise Lost? I know the epigram just before the table of contents fits with that interpretation, to where a cat who games came back... Nope.
Java Book Geek Girl?
Yep. Said, yes, Java Book Geek Girl said, close. Asriel is an alternate spelling of the Hebrew name Azrael. What are you doing?
And it's
Steven,
the
can you
angel,
put that back there?
Azazel,
Keep going down.
right?
Keep going down. Keep going down. Whoop.
Yeah.
Which is an angel and often identified
Asriel.
with the angel of death. And that's like, ding.
Have you, this is
Paradise
such an
Lost?
aside, but have you seen the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington, where
No, not
every
yet.
time
No, not yet.
it's
I
an
haven't seen
old
that.
it's an
I
old
know,
one
from the 90s?
Yeah, it's so it really freaked me out as a kid. So
Is it
he
like
gets
Joe Black?
No, so a demon.
seen that.
It's
Ooh, peanut
I
butter.
think it's Azazel, but it's the same idea of like a demon or an angel of death, but it's like a demon, and he passes along from person to person when he touches them. It freaked me
Also,
out.
Azazel is the name of Nightcrawler's father in X-Men comics and in the movie X-Men First Class. Azazel
Angel
was
of
that
Death.
Oh,
was
yeah.
that red demon-looking
That
mutant.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And also, when Batman broke his back and a replacement Batman showed up, who was a very religious, devout guy, this French guy from from like a church in Gotham City, his superhero identity was Asriel. He didn't go by Batman. He was like, and then later he was Asriel. So there's that.
15 points to Hufflepuff right there.
Oh, also, two really great points. Defensive Drew says, also these lines for anyone who doesn't have it. His dark materials to create more worlds into this wild abyss, the wary fiend stood on the brink of hell and looked a while pondering his voyage.
Asriel. Boom.
So that's, I mean,
What's Paradise Lost?
It's a story of how Lucifer is a fallen angel and ends up being
by
the ruler
Milton.
of hell. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It is better to rule in hell than to serve in heaven.
It's like it's a
Khan
it's
Noonien
like
Singh,
a,
Star Trek, Space Seed, Season 1, Episode 22, 23?
Wow, nailed it.
Boom.
Also, a cat who games said it's not necessarily bleak. It's more that Harry Potter is geared towards 9 to 12, whereas his dark materials is geared more
12 to
towards 12
14-year-olds?
to 14, which is a huge difference in age. And when you become a preteen, you are getting more into thinking about mortality and the darkness of the world.
And morality.
And morality,
Yeah.
I do think that there are some good, like, hopeful moments in the series and great characters. But yeah, when I read it the first time and I didn't have the second book, and I don't think maybe it wasn't in the US, and I was just like,
Brutal.
what? But what happened? And then the next one starts with someone else, and I was like,
Yeah.
what's happening?
Sure.
It was like a Lost finale.
That was
type
a hard
thing.
thing to get into. I remember just being like, I'm
Who is this boy?
This is weird adjustment.
I don't want a boy.
It's
There
like-
are plenty of books about boys.
It's like Heroes Season 2. It's like, what are you guys doing? Introducing a bunch of new characters. We don't care. What happened to the cheerleader?
Get rid of Nikki and Paolo already.
They did, real quick.
We
Yeah.
actually just did put an alpha poll up, and it was, what did you think of the movie?
All right,
Guys,
The
gotta
problem
get into
was,
it.
I think
didn't
that
get the results.
the winner was hated it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
No, I strongly disagree with that. I think one
If
of
you
the
liked it
options
in the
was
chat, let us know why.
Sure.
Yeah, I would
Fight
love to know
and
why.
Defend your honor.
And we won't attack
I
you or
didn't
anything.
like it, but I am upset. I'm so interested with adaptation. One of the options was it doesn't deserve the hate, and I think that
No.
should be the winner for the Golden Compass because I think that from a structural standpoint, this should not be a movie because it's mostly characters telling us about the world as opposed to us seeing it as it happens.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that for a movie adaptation, they should have.
But that's a lot of books.
That's a lot of books, yes. But in this particularly, they should have like
Lord of the Rings?
worked things around. Yeah, and in Lord of the Rings, those are great adaptations, and not counting the Hobbit movies. And even though that's a whole nother set of problems, but like the Lord of the Rings, even they are moving things around from books to make it a more sort of satisfactory film section of the trilogy.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think it's not. I think it's will be better served as a TV series.
Possibly.
But I don't think that it's not that it can. That it can't be adapted. I think it's just a poor adaptation because they are clearly afraid of the themes in the book. They make the magistrate more of a like fascist state. They're more of the bad guy.
As opposed to the
this like
yeah. But and again, I can't fault them because it's like the stuff in this is not very clearly. This is going to be marketable. This is going to be a 4-quadrant movie.
And it's not the time, like, we could maybe...
2006.
2006, not going to happen. You know, we had, like, creepy, you know, my favorite creepy kids movies in the 80s and some of the 90s, and you could get away with that kind of stuff.
This is the fact that this is like a contemporary of the Harry Potter series, that people speak it in the same breath. This landed on a studio executive's desk that was like, this could be our Harry Potter. That's the first mistake right there. What it should, the only way this should have been made is if somebody like the way that Brian Fuller loves Interview with a Vampire.
Yes, absolutely.
He left a project to go do Interview with a Vampire.
He always leaves projects.
He always leaves projects, right? But he's still the guy.
Sorry.
He has the passion that he wanted to do Star Trek. He wanted to do American Gods. He wants to do because he understands it. I needed somebody to show up in Hollywood and be like, "This is how you do Golden Compass. Don't even try to adapt the story."
Cha-ching.
Yes,
well, but supposedly
like,
the director in interviews kind of hinted at being sort of stifled by the studio, and maybe they got into it and didn't realize how much that was. But I also I just had something that was about so similar to Into the Woods, which is a musical
Disney,
it is
but Disney made it.
Yes, but it's the original musical is a satire on the Disney like tropes. And it makes fun of it, and it's super dark. Yeah. And then Disney was like, we're going to adapt it, but we don't really understand it, and we're going to kind of like soften everything around it. And so it doesn't work if you don't go for the actual like meat.
Or when Zack Snyder did Watchmen.
Yes. And it changes the whole...
way too ahead of the time.
But it changes the whole concept to make that change.
Watchmen to the comic book world, there should have been a movie version to the movie superhero, you know what I mean, that had more to say about film. And I also think that if the director of the movie felt like he was creatively stifled, I bet you there's a version that is way more true to the book.
It's the TV show about to happen.
But if you saw it as a movie, if maybe there was like an early cut, it could have been very boring. Because this is a book and it works as a book, and for movie, for visual, for moving pictures, for characters and humans speaking, I think you need to do different things to take advantage of that medium as opposed to just being like, let's put this on the screen.
No, and I don't think you need to put that on the screen, but I think you can bring the themes without hitting every single moment, without having characters kind of have like full exposition, which they do in this movie a lot. It's very heavy-handed script.
So many names, there's tons of exposition.
There's a lot of copy and paste as well, like direct copy and paste from the book, and it's like, well, it's not an easy translation.
It's not earned. They wanted these moments, but it's not earned because.
I'll tell you what I did like about it. It had a very Baz Luhrmann feel.
Yeah, I like the look of it.
And I don't know if that's because it's Nicole Kidman, and it's because it's like,
shiny.
Almost set in like the 20s, and it's like a flapper-esque era as well. But a
lot of kind of like, because a lot of it's like CG and green screen. Yeah. It's 2006. A lot of the demons don't look great. A lot of demons look great, but a lot of demons don't hold up. So there's this fake sort of, it's almost like Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, where it's like almost the whole world is very CG and fake, and you're like, that's cool.
I got a very prequels vibe where it's like, oh, the couches are real, but nothing else is.
In this room,
I want to see if anyone likes it, but the cast is great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I definitely want to get into our fan casting because I actually have a few that I've been thinking of, and I feel like I normally don't. But I love Nicole Kidman as Mrs. Coulter. Yeah. I don't love Daniel Craig, honestly, as...
I get why they cast him again. This was 2006. This was the same year that Casino Royale came out. So everyone was like, ooh, Daniel Craig's the new hotness. Like, we got to get him in the movie.
He has a big bottom lip.
And and he's got a great voice, and his eyes are the most gorgeous blue you've ever seen, and he's, and he can be mean. He's real mean. It's true.
I know.
His eyes are the most gorgeous blue you've ever seen.
They're really beautiful.
I'm jealous!
Yeah.
They're very beautiful.
It's fine.
But I definitely not pick on Hector Day.
And Ava Green... great as a witch. Like, obviously, she's a good witch.
Also, Casino Royale.
Yes.
Oh.
Whoa.
Okay.
The best. I also love Ian McKellen's voice.
He was great.
Yorick. I think him and Sam Elliott are the best casting in the movie.
They
So
are.
great.
They're
Sam Elliott's perfect.
Isn't
in
he
this film.
great?
He's perfect.
I actually think that there is no Sam Elliott. It's just Lee Scoresby who's decided to become an actor.
Every line he said, I believed it. Whether it was like crazy sci-fi mumbo jumbo.
You're gonna
want to
put that gun down right now.
I bought it. Why don't you go ahead and take a walk? Why don't you fellers call it a day? I was like, fuck yeah, like
I know.
it. Everything he's, the way he has a relationship with the bear when he's like, how you doing there, York? I'm like, yep, they're best friends.
Yeah.
And the way he treats the little lady, I just buy it.
He even said little.
And it's tough because a lot of maybe this is my American ears, a lot of the other characters a lot of times feel stifled because there's that British air, that pomposity sometimes,
And
that
they're
superiority.
acting alongside CGI characters, which is super hard. And I was watching a behind the scenes thing with the director, and he goes, you're actually acting in two movies. The one that you're acting in, and then you also have to act in a movie that doesn't quite exist yet, which is the characters that they're going to put in
with demons
later.
that have to be such a strong. And another little nitpick I had about the movie, which isn't the biggest deal, but I hate when there is like a CG character, but the voice that you hear is just omnipotent of the screen. I'm like, make it sound like the voice is coming out of the ferret. It's coming out of the golden
Little
monkey,
hair.
like in the scene, because you hear the actor in the scene and the way the sound sounds, and then the demon will speak, and you're like, well, that's like Bane from Batman, like everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it needs to sound like it's
He's
coming
the
from their
Phantom
head.
of the Opera.
Yeah, exactly.
I someone was saying the bears looked good. Oh, nice. I actually pictured Lee as Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York, which is Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yep.
Lee Scoresby.
That's
That's too
interesting.
scary. That's too intense. No. I need like a warm Texan. That's too scary.
I thought of like Josh Lucas, because I always pictured him a little younger.
He looked like my first boyfriend.
Oh, nice.
Josh Lucas?
Well done.
Whoa.
Nice.
good
Very
movie.
nice.
You want to know the best blue eyes ever?
Is he like the voice of Home Improvement now, or is that somebody else?
I don't know.
I think he's making that Home Improvement money. Speaking
Ooh,
of,
or Aiden from Sex and the City.
I can see that.
John Corbett.
Bucky
very
B says,
tall.
I wanted my Wells Fargo mention. That threw me off
right?
of this book, you guys.
It's like you're reading
I
it
was
and you
like,
just go, and Wells Fargo.
I'm like, oh, so in
I
this
didn't
universe,
know it. I didn't know it.
Wells Fargo exists? What? Is there a Bank of America? What other corporations from our world? Is there McDonald's? What is this?
But Wells Fargo is a
real
bank.
yes.
That's why they have the.
But every other company I said is also a real company.
Yeah, but not one that's been around.
Back
this.
in the day. But
Yeah.
It took me out of the book.
You've seen
That's the point.
Really?
Because
Took me out of the book.
Wells Fargo is a modern company also. But
I
I know that
know,
Wells
but
Fargo
it-
has that
that-
history.
as a bank,
they
it was-
really
yeah,
were.
with,
I
like,
think they were like the
carriages. This is the
precursor
thing,
to.
Your argument is they're making up so much stuff. They're just
Right.
making up things. Why don't you just make up a bank?
Could have said like the old Bank of the West or something, and I
Totally.
would have been like, sure, that's the name of the
As soon as you
bank.
hear Wells Fargo,
But
it's like, okay, now I'm questioning
I didn't
every.
know.
I have a
thing,
checking account at Wells Fargo. That's the thing that threw me, and I was just like, oh, cool. That's weird, but but there's what other companies are as old as Wells Fargo
Not a lot.
in the world?
Yeah.
The
There
post
isn't a
office.
lot.
Is that Dunlop?
Yeah.
Has Dunlop been around since like the early 20s? Tires?
Yeah, it was a ship.
Is
Yeah,
that
it was a shipping thing first. Ooh, Gal Gadot as Serafina. That's good. Or
I could see
Gadot.
that.
Got that exotic.
I could see that.
Gadot. I never know.
Godot.
Gadot.
Gadot.
Our good friend Amy Dunn as Mrs. Coulter, Rosalind Pike.
Oh yeah, because she's.
I got
'cause she's-
goosebumps.
Yeah, she is a Brit, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's
She
does
does
them
both. She
before
does
they
both
go-
very well.
Right,
So
she
I have
does a
no
very good
idea.
American
but
accent. That would be good.
Right, spooky.
Yeah, because little golden monkey.
But didn't Mrs. Coulter have dark hair or no? She had blonde hair.
In the book, she has dark hair, which
Then
threw
do
me
that
off.
because everybody will just compare her to Nicole Kidman.
Nicole,
So
yeah.
you gotta get an
Yeah,
actress
and
with
she
dark
does.
hair.
I mean, she could do dark hair, but you
Ooh,
could
what
also.
about Rebecca Ferguson from
yes,
Mission Impossible?
Yes.
Rogue
And The
Nation?
Greatest Showman. Sorry.
Oh, okay, sure.
I'm obsessed with The
Ooh,
Greatest
what
Showman.
about Zendaya as the witch? Sure,
Zoe Kravitz?
I'll take that.
Oh, yeah, she's very
I'll take that.
witch-like.
Because
I'll take
like
that.
I feel like she's done something
Movie's a
very
little white right
similar
now,
to
too.
that already for some reason.
she's going to be in Fantastic Beasts. She's like the portrait
Oh,
in the
cool.
first one, but she's going to be a bigger character in the second one.
Ooh.
Nice.
And speaking of Fantastic Beasts, I thought Colin Farrell as Lord Asriel.
Okay, yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's
I
cool.
can't
He can be mean.
give anything better than that, right?
Yeah.
Hot
So-
dad.
Has enough time passed where people won't make the connection to the movie? Yeah, right. That's fine.
I don't
It'll
think a
work.
lot of
12
people have seen. Oh
seen it.
my god!
It is. It's 12 years.
What?
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
no!
We had
that's
5
when I
years between
graduated
Eric
high
Bana
school.
and Edward Norton, and then 4 years after that before we got Mark Ruffalo. So
Oh
who
yeah,
gives a shit? Who cares?
Lin-Manuel Miranda
love
is
it.
playing Lee Scoresby in the TV show.
is?
Lin-Manuel Miranda is Lee Scoresby.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a That's a hot take. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. It's very different.
And they haven't
Man,
cast
he's like
anyone
the
else.
he's like the one guy that I am okay with them not using Sam Elliott again. It's Lin-Manuel. If it was him or The Rock, I would have been like, all right, I love them both. Sure. They're Lee Scoresby.
Thrash Odin says Clive Owen, I think, for Lord Asriel.
That's good.
What's
What
he
happened
doing?
to him?
Oh yeah.
He did that
Children
great
of
movie,
God?
Shoot 'em Up, and then.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he did do
Oh,
the
yeah,
Nick. I didn't
TV.
watch it. I've heard it's great.
Pretty good. Yeah, I could see that.
I'm very excited to see who else they cast.
Who would be our Lyra, guys?
Well, it's
Well, it's Daphne Keene from
But
Logan.
who would be
Our Lyra?
I don't know. I don't know
kid
enough
actors
young
well enough.
actors.
I'm not a casting director in Hollywood, Maude.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Who's like a scrappy
I would
from any era? Because like if we go through any era,
Yeah,
like
just
if we're doing
any
crazy
point
fan
in
casting,
time.
Winona Ryder, Serafina.
But Winona Ryder in like 1984.
That's what I'm saying.
Guys,
Yeah.
I can't stand her in Stranger Things.
What?
She
great.
does a lot of crazy eye acting in that, but they don't give her a lot to work with.
Yes, they do.
And they
Her
sidelined.
son has been taken.
Yeah, but they sidelined her in the second season.
I know why.
Aw, but everyone liked her. She's
Yeah,
supposed
she-
to-
I have never liked Winona Ryder.
that sounds like a you
I have
problem.
been keeping that in for like 20 years.
No, I don't believe you. I think you're just being a
Oh,
contrarian. You're
Edward
too,
Scissorhands. I don't care.
you're too happy to
Reality
reveal that
bites.
news.
I don't care.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. I
mean,
respect
What's
you,
up?
and we're
What does
friends
irony mean?
and
The
colleagues.
definition of irony is she's like the modern day Kristen Stewart. I mean, the 80s, 90s Kristen Stewart. Oh.
Oh man, that's so dismissive.
Also,
To
Kristen
both-
Stewart's a
to
really
both
good actress.
Winona Ryder and Kristen Stewart. I know. I'm like, dang, that's a real dismissive to both. Dang, Mom.
Everyone's mad at
You
me.
lost
I'm
everybody.
not mad, but I do think that if you already didn't like Winona Ryder, then maybe it wasn't Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Oh, and I really didn't like her in Stranger
Yeah,
Things.
that's okay. You
That's
can
okay.
dislike
Mm.
people. That's fine.
My
Not
bug-
everyone likes me.
My bug.
Someone
That's
in the
not
chat's
true.
gonna-
True.
That's
Everybody
true.
likes you,
No,
Mom.
they don't.
Mom.
Yeah.
Who?
Someone in the
I'll
chat.
fight 'em.
Someone in the chat surfaced yourself. I know you're in there.
Now
you
that I'm
tell
gonna
me
say
you
anything.
don't like me too much.
Saoirse Ronan is Mrs. Cole. She's a little young.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can.
Everybody likes
Johnny
you, Mike.
Depp
Get out of
is
here.
canceled.
Get
That's
outta here.
true.
Gillian Anderson is Mrs. Coulter.
That'd be good too. Yeah, she
I
can do a
like
British
that
voice,
a
right?
lot.
She can do a
That-
British
Maisie
accent.
Williams would have been a good Lyra back in her, you know,
Oh, yes,
yeah,
that is
scrappy. Are you
good.
kidding?
Yeah.
Really well done. That was Game Wizard 001. Well done.
That's
yeah.
very good.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Give us your fan casts.
It's tough.
Now everyone's mad at me because of my.
No, it's
my
fine. Everyone calm
Wimona.
down. If I can forgive her, you can.
Minus 200 points for Maude. If they do,
Thank you, surfing cord. That's the thing. No matter how much everyone hates on an idea, someone will agree.
yeah,
That's true.
because people are contrarians.
Yes,
that's why.
That's true.
That's
Oh
all.
man, did someone say Cloud? Oh yeah, menacing side a la Cloud Atlas. We should not read Cloud Atlas on this because it is a lot, but it would be fun because then we could watch the movie and
Oh,
then
I
I could
haven't
just
seen that
say,
one yet. That's the Wachowskis
you haven't
movie,
seen it?
right? I haven't seen it yet.
"You don't know the true?"
No, I don't know the true.
The what?
That's the
Maybe
one
we
where.
have to do it then.
That's the one where dude from Across the Universe is an Asian person for a scene.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Oh man,
it's
I
a
need to see it.
yeah.
problematic
Yeah, I need to see
movie.
it. I need to see it. But Tom Hanks is in it.
Tom
Yes.
Hanks is in it.
I wanna see that.
But in the
Is it-
book,
who else?
you can look it up. But they go through different times.
Mm-hmm.
They start in the past and move forward into the far future,
Sure.
and then they go the other way. So you get different
Oh,
halves
cool.
of the story. It's cool. They don't do that in the movie.
I think
though,
my
'cause
favorite
they're dumb.
Wachowskis movie is Speed Racer. I love that movie.
Speed Racer is very good.
It's a very good.
What
movie. You ever
about
seen Speed
Jupiter
Racer?
Ascending?
With Emil Hirsch?
Yeah.
Thank you. Jupiter Ascending, #1. Be all end all. You heard it here first.
Oh,
have
I need to
not-
watch that.
I've not
Is it
seen
like
that
is
one.
it like the comic book saga?
I don't know because I haven't read it.
Oh, maybe you should read
Oh,
the
that's
comic
the
book
number
and I
one
should watch the movie.
recommended comic I've had.
Yeah,
Saga.
it's very good.
One day.
I have had.
Have
that
you seen Speed
recommended
Racer?
As well. It's good.
You can say if you've seen it and didn't like it.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, I was
Mod.
guessing it.
Haven't seen it?
Ooh, Sean Bean as Lord Asriel. I like
Ooh,
that.
yep.
Kate Blanchett as Mrs. Coulter. I like that. Jude Law as Asriel. Ooh.
Yeah, they could actually get a lot. They could could
Yeah.
get another great cast. Now that I'm like
Guy
you guys
Pearce.
Oh, I love Guy
Oh.
Pearce.
Oh,
He
man.
did a really good villain in Iron Man.
Oh, Nick
right.
Offerman is a bear. Oh my
That'd be good.
god, I love that so
I'm
much.
with the girl. We've made a deal. Just do the whole thing. My armor, it's like a soul. I said all the eggs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, give me all the eggs and bacon you have.
All the eggs and bacon. Yeah.
Ooh,
I
Gary
don't
Oldman
get it.
as
Yeah.
Lee Scoresby. He's unfortunately
And you know what? It turns
canceled,
out we do not have a scarcity of very very good British actors, turns out.
Or scary. Ooh,
Oh, cool. Thank you.
what's his name? Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Oh, as anybody.
Yeah.
I'll take
As
it.
anyone.
I'll
Yeah,
take it.
as every character.
Every character. I would
would
love
watch
it.
that.
One man show. Chiwetel Ejiofor gives us the Golden Compass.
But he's actually one of my favorite villains in the Serenity movie.
Yeah.
He was
He's
just
great in
so
In which movie?
Serenity.
Really? He's the bad guy in there?
Yeah, with a.
I feel like
I
that's the
haven't
first
seen
time
that.
I saw him
Yeah.
in
He's
anything.
very calm and pure, but
Yeah.
fiercely deadly.
It's that, like,
and
scary-
It's that,
He's great.
and that to me
Lord
is
Asriel.
frightening.
Yeah.
Asriel.
He's
Ooh,
amazing.
Be good.
He's really good.
Awesome.
Ooh, Speed Racer, which is added to Netflix
Yeah, I
for
saw
anyone
that.
in the
Oh,
US.
nice.
Yep.
Maggie Smith for everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Sure.
I just got a visual of her turning into the cat, or the cat into the.
Oh, yeah.
from Harry Potter.
Maggie Smith is the voice of all the demons.
I just have to say too, quick Pan update since this is about Pan. But I had this moment. He woke me up the other night at like 4 a.m. because he's still a kitten, kind of. Licked my nose and was on my face, and my first thought was, I would murder someone for you. And I was like, oh, this was maybe like parents feel like. he's my child now.
That's great.
So-
I would watch the movie Taken, but with a cat, but with starring you, Rachel Hines.
I believe
Keanu?
it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Keanu.
It is, isn't it?
But it's
Yeah.
just me crying.
Shit, but it's
It's
just
me crying and then I die
instead of you driving a
immediately.
car. No, I want you to go kick ass, but it's just you crying. That's
Yeah,
sad.
yeah. I'm like, where's my cat?
It's like, did you hear Rachel Hines' cat was taken? And I'm in the theater like, oh, this is about to get good. Oh, she's just gonna cry the whole time. Oh, sad. That's sad.
Look at pictures of him.
Yeah.
Remember when you licked my nose?
Anyway, I love him. He's my little dude. so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that feeling.
I would kill
that.
somebody
But
for you.
imagine
That's
you're
great.
actually connected with via the soul.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It is your
Idris
soul.
Elba as Lee Scoresby. I would pay to see that.
That'd
I
be
need
good.
more Idris Elba in my life. Full stop.
Well, he's played. I didn't see. Did anybody see Dark Tower? We read the book. Did we? Anybody
I
see Dark
watched
Tower?
it. I watched
Does
it.
he have an American accent or British accent? British
I
accent,
don't
right?
remember.
Doesn't he? He's like, I'm the
It's
gunslinger,
so-
isn't it? It's
I
bad?
think it's British. It
Is
was
Dark Tower the 2017 version
of Golden Compass,
Yes.
probably.
Ooh,
Really good book.
Yeah.
Can't
It's
adapt
it's
it.
Is it
difficult
though?
to adapt,
Yeah.
and they
Is it
went
a really
very.
good book?
They tried to make it mainstream.
Is it a really good book though?
I don't know.
It was tough to read.
Yeah, it's
It was
tough to read. This was
So
tough
is
to read for
this.
some people. Yeah.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
And this
I'm
is the
seeing
beginning
parallels.
of a longer, gets better
Yeah.
saga. And so was Dark Tower, apparently. So, and they really did try to streamline that and make it mainstream. And it's like, maybe that's
It
not.
looks like Matthew McConaughey was like
Oh, Lee Scoresby.
copy and
There we
pasted
go.
Yes.
into the movie.
You're welcome.
There we go.
You're welcome, guys.
Yeah. I
Ooh,
like
Jeremy
that.
Irons is anything. Yeah, that's good.
That'd be good.
Anyway, guys, that comes to the conclusion of the Golden Compass that we've been covering
Yay!
all month.
Thank you for reading it. Thank you for sticking to your pinky swear,
I
Hector.
did.
I'm so
it wasn't,
proud of you.
It wasn't until I finished it that I was like, all right, I'm going to rent this on
How
Amazon. Let's do
many
it.
similarities did the movie have to your imagination? Super quick.
A good amount because I was just from years ago, just from knowing the movie existed, cast some of those actors so that, when I was reading the book, I'm like, yep, I got Daniel Craig, I got Nicole Kidman, I got, especially Sam Elliott when Lee showed up, I'm like, that's my dude. So a lot of that. And the demons for the most part. I didn't get the, when they disappeared into gold dust, when a person died, their demon just went poof and
like-
disappeared.
I liked
that. was a
that.
good visual flourish for the film. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
And I like what they did with the alethiometer.
Yeah, me too. And it looks
yeah.
really good. I was like, I want one of those.
Yeah. And
liked all the-
that's another thing. Like,
Do you like the word contraption?
Yeah.
I do like that. It's a zany action, a crazy contraption, the fun is catching.
No.
Mouse trap.
No.
Yeah.
Quick announcement as well, guys. We're going to be dark next week. We will not be doing Alpha Book Club next week. You've got a week off. This was a lot. We made you watch the movie, and if you did, you need a week to recover. So we will be returning on May 9th with the first part of our book for May. Obviously, we are going to be back into the wizarding world of Harry Potter. We're going to be reading book number 3, The Prisoner of Azkaban. So go ahead. You've already got the book, or you've already got it on Audible. Let's listen and
We have our
read.
beautiful books that Java Girl gave.
Yes.
The illustrated.
I've put it away because I was like, I can't even look at it
Yeah.
until
I know
it's
exactly
time.
what mine is as well, and I've moved house, so that's saying something.
Me too.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. So read up to the beginning of chapter 6. Finish chapter 5. Stop at 5. Stop after 5. Chapter 6. That's where we're going to read until That's going to be super exciting. And if you, I'm just going to smash it out, guys. I love it. I love this book. I'm so excited. Don't forget, we're on Goodreads too. Just search Alpha Book Club and come discuss the books with us. Anything that you didn't get to chat about in the show, or if you had an afterthought, or if you're reading ahead, that's a pretty good place to go. And if you haven't told a friend to sign up, you get 60 free days of Alpha if you sign up using the promo code Parseltongue. That's 2 whole months. That is 8 book clubs that you get for free.
Whoa.
So tell your friends about that so we can beef up the chat every single week, because chatting with you guys is the highlight of our week. And
True.
I can absolutely speak on behalf of my 2 co-hosts.
Oh, yeah.
That's
here.
true.
100%.
And if you're interested in joining us via Skype, let's get some FaceTime happening, guys. Let us know on Twitter @JoinTeamAlpha. Use the hashtag Alpha Book Club and get hit up Lost the Numbers, aka Lee. We're going to get you set up, be on the show, all our Potterheads.
Just Rachel's so excited. Rachel, do that thing. Share it with the crowd. You were so excited. Rachel did this.
You were going like this, and I was like, what?
Hey, she's cool.
She's the coolest.
She's down.
No,
She's
she
down
went like
with the
this.
hip
She went like
peeps.
this. She went, what? Like that. But just to herself. And
I
was like,
can't even
that's
picture
awesome.
that.
Yeah, I know, right? I swear to God she did it. I
The
swear
book's
she did it.
upside down
I'm so
and back.
tired.
What?
Oh, you're
Okay.
Well, we won't be there next week, so we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye. Bye from
Bye.
Pantomime.
What?
Oh.
Meow.